Hello, welcome to jQuery tutorial, chapter 31, jQuery change event, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about what is jQuery change event. So, the following elements fire the change event when their values are changed. So the elements are input, textarea, and select. And keep in mind, the select, radio buttons, and checkboxes fire the changed event as soon as the selection is made. But other element types, for example, we have an input element, and to the input element we can specify the other types. But if the type is text, so such input element with the type text, okay, will fire the change event only after when they lose focus. So to understand these things very clearly about the change event, let me jump into Visual Studio and let me show you a demo there. So just to save the time, I'm already having a form typed. Let me copy this form and let me paste it in my HTML page. So this is my form. Okay, now let me push this page to the browser and let me see how it renders there. So this is the form, and now this is how the form has been rendered: the first name, last name, and the skills: HTML, Angular, JavaScript, and jQuery, and if you read car, and the hobbies, and the comment, and a submit button. Now we are going to learn about the changed event completely here. So first let me interact with this select element. Now our objective is, as soon as I select the element, I need to call a change event. That change event should print the element what I've selected inside the div. So in my code, you can observe here, my div element is at the bottom. So once the user select the element, okay, I'm going to call the change event. Change event job is to print the select element inside the div. So let me show you how to do that. It's very simple. So first, let me come here. First I need to identify the select element. Here is my select element and the ID is skills list. So let me copy this and let me come here. First I need to identify an element, that is select element, with the ID. The ID is select list, and to that element I'm going to call a change function. So my objective of this change function is to print the selected element inside the div element. So it's very simple. So now what I'll do is, let me create a variable called value. The variable name is value selected is equal to dollar. This represents the particular element what it is selected. Dot, okay, fetch the value what user has selected. Okay, after fetching the value, what I need to do is, I need to pass that value to the div element. So how do I do that? It's very simple. How can I identify the div element? It's at the bottom. I can identify with this ID. So let me scroll up, and here I'm going to tell like identify an element with the ID div result, then call the HTML method and then pass that variable inside that HTML function. So this piece of code, what it's going to do is, it's going to identify the select element, and once user select the element, and that value will be stored in this value selected, and we are passing that value to the div with the help of this ID. So let me go back here and let me refresh. Okay, now you can observe, now I'll select Angular. You can observe within the div, okay, we are getting that element, the value what we selected. This is what the advantage of using a change event. So I said you can observe here, select, radio buttons, and checkboxes fire the change event as soon as the selection is made. So in the sense, now you can observe here, now let me refresh. Now as soon as I select the JavaScript, it's immediately pushing that value to the div element. That's what the meaning of this sentence. The select element fire the change event as soon as the selection is made, but other element types like input type is equal to text, they fire the change event until they lose focus. Okay, so let me show you that also. Now my objective is, I need to I need to for example, if I type Sam and here it's Brendan. Now my objective is, I need to print all the values whatever I type here inside the div element. So how can I achieve that? It's very simple. Okay, these are the input type elements. So let me show you that also. It's very simple. Now before that, let me confirm you like what I did right now. What I'm doing is I'm identifying the select element by the ID, then I'm selecting the element. As soon as I select the element, the content is passed to the div element and it is printed there. But keep in mind, if I'm working with the input element, then if I attach a change event, it does not fire as soon as you type the content inside the control. So let me show you a demo of it. It's very simple. So what I need to do is first I need to call the input type. Okay, then let me edit the things here. So first let me create a variable called result, called selected value. Let me keep it empty as of now. And now what I'll do is I'm attaching a change event to this input type element. So input type element in the sense this one, this first element, second element, and as well as this radio button, as well as this checkboxes also. So now my objective is, now as soon as I type something here in the first name and last name, that has to get printed inside the div. And also if I select the car or if I select the hobbies, okay, that also should get printed inside the div. So how to achieve that? Okay, it's very simple. So I've created a variable called selected value. Then what I'll do is if selected value is equal to empty, then I need to tell like selected value is equal to dollar this is whatever the content is selected, and fetch the value of that. Okay, if it is empty, if the selected value is empty, or else if it is having a value, then what I need to do is very simple. Okay, again I need to call this, and I'll remove this. Before that I need to separate them, the multiple values by comma. So I'm doing it. Then I'm going to attach this previous value, what it is holding. Control S. Okay, now let me go back and let me refresh. Okay, now you can observe now as soon as I select BMW. Okay, now another important thing what I need to do is, once I select the things, I need to push them to the div element. That's the thing I'm missing here. So let me do that. So what I need to do is, how do I identify a div element? It's very simple. We have ID for that. We can identify the div element by its ID. So let me copy that ID and let me paste it here. And we are passing that the value which is holding the result of all the input types, that is selected value, to that HTML. We do Control S. We go back and let me refresh. Now you can observe very clearly. Now as soon as I select BMW, it is getting printed in the div. Now as soon as I select reading, swimming, and dancing, keep in mind these input types are checkbox and radio buttons. So you can observe very clearly the select, radio buttons, and checkboxes. I've done with the select, you saw that very clearly, but now we are working with radio buttons and checkboxes. They fire the change event as soon as the selection is made. That's the reason. As soon as I select, you can observe very clearly, as soon as I select the things, they are printing inside the div very immediately. But keep in mind, if your input element type is text, they will not print the content inside the div immediately until they lose focus. So let me show you a demo of it. Now you can let me refresh. Now I'll type here Sam. Now you can observe, now I typed Sam, but it is not getting printed here. Why? Because it is not lose the focus. When it loses the focus, when I bring this cursor outside that element, you can observe here the Sam got printed. Okay, now let me pass the last name. You can observe the Brendan is also not getting printed as soon as I typed in that element. Okay, when this text will get printed inside the div as soon as it lose focus, in the sense when this cursor comes outside of that element. So you can observe here, but this BMW and this elements, they print the value as soon as it is selected. So that's the meaning of this sentence. Select radio buttons and checkboxes, fire the change event as soon as the selection is made, but the other element types wait until they lose focus. That's the meaning of these two sentences. I hope you understood this very clearly. But keep in mind, now I can't work with this select element. Now I'm selecting Angular, but the value is not getting printed because in our code we have told like select only the values of the input element. And again, the select as well as the comment text area is not an input element, so we are not getting that. But if I want to work with all of them, then what I can do is I need to identify the class attached to each element. So the class name is required text, and this class name is common to all the elements present inside the form. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this class name and I'll paste it here. Instead of input element, I'm taking the class name, and the class name is common to all the elements. It can be an input type text, radio button, checkbox, or it can be a text area, or it can be a or it can be a select element. Now let me refresh. Now you can observe, now I'll type Sam and this will get printed as soon as it lose focus. So it printed. Now it's Brendan. Now this will get printed as soon as it lose focus. Yes, it is getting printed. And now HTML, BMW and the swimming, now it will get like Google. You can observe very clearly. Okay, I hope you understood with this change event very clearly. Okay, and let me end this. So finally, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting this URL. You can also follow us on Twitter. For further reference, refer websites. We are on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback. Thank you. Have a great day.